Hello and welcome to Doak Campbell Stadium, where Georgia Tech visits Florida State in today's SEC matchup. Georgia Tech and Florida State have had two pretty polar opposite seasons so far. Georgia Tech comes into the game with a 3-5 record and a 1-4 SEC mark, while Florida State comes into the game with a 7-1 record with a 4-1 record in SEC play. Both teams are playing for something different. Georgia Tech purely trying to play spoiler and get another victory and maybe reach bowl eligibility. Florida State, on the other end, needs to keep on winning to keep their conference and national title hopes alive. The big story coming into today is the return of Jordan Travis, who left last week's game with an injury after he took a shot on this play during the game against Miami, where he was able to fire a touchdown pass to Johnny Wilson, but left the game with a strain that kept him out the rest of the game. And that's very important for Florida State, since Jordan Travis has established himself as one of the best passers in the entire nation with the third highest completion percentage in the entire country. The key to this Florida State offense has been its diversity of targets, as you can see with Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jaheim Bell, Destin Hill, and Winston Wright, all being guys with double-digit catches, and they've pretty much spread the love in terms of who's making the big plays and who's able to really produce for this offense. So Jordan Travis re-entering the offensive picture today and hopefully at full strength to help Florida State continue on with their hopes of maybe getting to an SEC and national title game. Georgia Tech brings to the table an experienced quarterback in Haynes King, who is a Texas A&M transfer. He's fairly solid and has gotten the job done this season as the Georgia Tech quarterback. He just doesn't have a lot around him offensively, and a lot is on his shoulders to try and make happen. As you can see, the numbers are pretty average. The touchdown to interception ratio is nothing to write home about, and it just kind of seems like this offense has not really been functioning at a level where it can win a lot of games. Clearly by their record, it's evidence of that. Then on the defensive side, Georgia Tech has a couple of playmakers such as Miles Sims, who provides quite a unique challenge as a 6'4 corner with plenty of experience, and with Florida State having big play receivers in Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, who rely a lot on their height, Miles Sims is an interesting matchup for them and could pose some trouble if Jordan Travis is trying to force things a little too much and trying to get his big play receivers involved in the offense. With that being said, it is time for kickoff. Alex Mastromano kicks one deep, and this will be a touchback to start today's game, and Georgia Tech will take over and get the ball first and be able to put their stamp on this game right away. Haynes King gets to start from under center and immediately makes a change to the defensive look. Obviously did not like what he was seeing for this first play of the game. Looks like Florida State has some movement on the defense, and Haynes King fires and hits Jana, and he'll get about 15 yards with that play, and Georgia Tech is already moving and grooving. And Haynes King looks nice so far. He'll throw the next one out to Dante Smith, and Dante Smith runs through a lot of contact, and he's able to get 3 yards on that rush, and that will bring up a 2nd and 7 now. Going under center again, where a lot of this Georgia Tech offense takes place. The drop back, he's hit really hard there, and was able to get that ball to Chase Lane, though, who was able to get 9 and pick up a first down. Great poise from Haynes King early. Fires one here to Leary, another different receiver, 6 yards for Christian Leary, and that's 3 different receivers that have a reception so far. And now Haynes King is going to audible out of a play, having a good command of the offense so far, gets in the shotgun with a running back beside him, drop back with great protection and hits Leary, finds the man Christian Leary for 16 yards. And now Georgia Tech is approaching the red zone pretty quickly. First run for them to Travion Cooley, and Travion Cooley will get 15 yards, and it is a 1st and 10, almost in goal-to-go territory, but they do enter the red zone pretty efficiently. And this Georgia Tech offense looks like they are no joke and have come to play against Florida State. Haynes King able to get this one to Lane. Lane will pick up 5, and they are staying on schedule and ahead of the sticks and looking very nice so far. 2nd and 5 for Georgia Tech. Fakes the handoff and just avoids a tackle that doesn't even seem like it was trying to be made. Haynes King gets into the end zone from 8 yards out, and Georgia Tech takes a 7-0 lead early. Jordan Travis and company, now with the ball down 7, they're going to run a triple option look where they dish it out to Keon Coleman, and he'll take 4 easy yards to start, but takes a hit at the end of that play, and Georgia Tech making sure to asserting themselves early that they are not going to be pushed around today. 2nd and 6, shotgun handoff to Trey Benson, and there is a lot of room up the middle, a lot of green grass. They are already over midfield, and the Florida State offense is cooking early now, under 6 minutes to go. Jordan Travis with the handoff again, this time to Benson, trying to cut to the outside. He'll find 3 yards, and the 2nd and 7 is nice for the Florida State offense. Things seem to be coming pretty easy. They're getting some good blocking up front to start in today's game. A lot of looks, Travis trying to find somebody, and he's going to have to end up throwing this one away, and that will bring up 3rd and 7, a crucial down early, as Georgia Tech has already established themselves in the lead. Travis runs out to the right, and he's able to throw a nice touch pass to Winston Wright. 18 yards for Winston Wright, and that'll be a 1st down, and Florida State is getting itself pretty close to the red zone at this point. Outside run by Benson. He shakes off some tacklers, bouncing around, finds 8 yards, and he's at 2nd and 2, under 5 minutes to go. Next step to Travis. He hits an easy curl route to Destin Hill, and that'll be almost 10 more yards, and Florida State is almost at the 10-yard line. And now this one, a touch pass to Jaheim Bell. He just has no one around him for that, and that's 11 yards out. Jordan Travis finds a score, and that's his first passing touchdown of the game. And now it's time to see if Georgia Tech can respond. They'll run it up the middle in the first play, and Dante Smith will only get 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Snap to Haynes King, and he throws and finds Jana. And Jana gets to about inches away after that 9-yard catch, and it'll bring up a 3rd and inches under center for Georgia Tech. Let's see if they can use that big offensive line to push around the Florida State defense. 3rd and inches, run up the middle of Smith. Smith throws off 1 tackler, 2 tacklers, and it'll take a 3rd tackler from behind to take down Smith after 11 yards. 1st down, Georgia Tech. Run outside to Cooley now. Cooley looks like he's got a nice burst. That's 8 yards for Cooley. 2nd and 2. And this Georgia Tech offense seems to not really be concerned with the defense. Florida State's defense has put up no resistance so far. This is a run to Smith. Smith is not going down on 1st tackle at all. It's taking 2 or 3 tackles before he finds it, and that one will get them a 1st down, Georgia Tech. Finds Lane again, and Lane has been living in the middle of the field. That's 18 more yards, and now back in the red zone for Georgia Tech. 1st down. Haynes King looking, scanning, and this one goes through the back of the end zone. Did not look like he had a great read, as that was his first incompletion of the day for Haynes King. 2nd and 10. Fires, and it's off the hands of Leary, and he's hit by Azarie Thomas to break that one up. And it's a 3rd and 10, and an opportunity for Florida State to get off the field and probably force a field goal from this point forward. Haynes King now goes under center, still has his running back beside him. They're getting lined up with about 15 seconds on the play clock. He'll take a drop back, fire to Leonard, and that really had no chance of picking up the 1st down, but that will lead to a Georgia Tech field goal, and they go up 10-7 with Florida State getting the ball now. Travis hands it off to Lawrence Toafili. That will only get 1 yard. 2nd and 9, Florida State. Screen pass to Johnny Wilson, and that gets nothing. So in the first 2 plays, they have gotten a total of 1 yard, and now Florida State faces another 3rd down. They converted one earlier, but this pass does not even get in the stratosphere of Keon Coleman. No chance for him to get that one. And now Georgia Tech takes back over across the 50-yard line. 1st and 10, not much time left in the first quarter. Does not stop Christian Leary from finding the middle of that zone. And 9 more yards brings up a 2nd and 1 for Georgia Tech. Haynes King with the drop back, and he'll find Leonard into a very tight window, and that will be 3 yards on a 2nd and 1 to get a 1st down conversion, and they are approaching the 30-yard line at this point. Last play of the first quarter, and Dante Smith throws off another tackler. They're able to gang up there to get him for a loss, but Dante Smith is not going down easy, and Georgia Tech is definitely putting up a fight. And the slow starts for Florida State continue on with this season. The offense looked good on their first drive, but that second drive definitely leads to some concern as Georgia Tech is driving 2nd and 11. Second quarter now. King has plenty of time and finds Leary, and he'll get 7 yards to bring up a 3rd and 4. That Georgia Tech offensive line is doing a great job of holding off that Florida State pass rush and giving Haynes King plenty of time to orchestrate the offense. 3rd and 4 time, he's hit, and it is not a good throw. Akeem Denton coverage. That leads to a field goal to put Georgia Tech up 13-7. Then on the ensuing kickoff, we have Winston Wright, who's able to have some room in the middle, cuts around, and not even anybody from Georgia Tech's going to catch him. He's at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, 5. Touchdown, Winston Wright, as he collapses into the end zone, clearly out of breath. A dash through the field there, as he did not get touched by a single Georgia Tech defender. No resistance, and Florida State goes up 14-13. Big play to answer back, as Georgia Tech has had 3 very nice drives so far and has moved the ball very easily against this defense. King looks and finds Leary, but Leary drops that on the outside. 2nd and 10. 8 minutes to go. Man in motion under center for King. He's going to have a drop back, and he finds Leary, who operates in that middle part of the field, and that will bring up a third down for Georgia Tech and an opportunity for Florida State to get off the field again. Seeing if they can get a 3 and out, get the ball back will be very nice. Looks and finds Leary. He holds on this time. That's 10 more yards. And he has been a consistent presence already with 6 catches in this game. But it looks like he is down on the play, and I don't know if he's going to return. He looked a little shaken up after that one. 7.5 minutes to go. Run to Smith. Smith finds 3. He hasn't had a ton of big breakthrough plays, but he's been very nice at running forward and keeping Georgia Tech on schedule. Finds Jonna. He'll need to step up with Christian Leary. Going to be out for a little bit. 3rd and 2. Here come the safeties. Pressure and hit. Leonard able to get the first down. Even with the pressure in King's face, he makes a very nice throw and gets the ball out to his receiver. Georgia Tech down by 1. 6.5 minutes to go. King scans and then throws off balance, and somehow Chase Lane is able to keep his composure, catches that ball. It's a first down, Georgia Tech inside the 30. Run to Smith. He throws off a defender. That's 4 yards. And Georgia Tech is looking good, but they will get the notice that Christian Leary will be out for the rest of the game and will not return. Here's a run to Smith. He'll get 2 guys trying to tackle him, and that's all it will take to get him to go down. And he is not going down easy for them and making a very big pain for Florida State at this point. 3rd and 1. Run to Cooley. He throws off a defender of his own. And we have not seen Florida State able to tackle with the first guy. It is taking multiple people to slow down a Georgia Tech player. They're going to run up the middle for 8 yards, and that's a 2nd and 2. 2nd and 2 drop back for Haynes King. And it's dropped by Boyd, as there looked like there was a deflection that Florida State could have taken advantage of. 3rd and 2 under center for Georgia Tech, and throws to Boyd, who will not get into the end zone, but will get the team to the 1 yard line, and a good opportunity for Georgia Tech to punch it in. And this time it's Travion Cooley who takes the defender with him into the end zone. And that 1 yard score will lead to a 20-14 lead for Georgia Tech. Florida State starts the next drive with a run to Benson. No yards for him. Travis on the next play. He gets run down, and he'll lose 11 yards on that play. And that was a beautiful work by Etanoza Rubin, who has been all over the place, and that's his 2nd TFL and 1st sack of the half. 3rd and 21. Gonna need a big chunk play, and Travis taken down by Rubin again. 4th and 30, and that will be an obvious punt situation for Florida State as Rubin makes his presence known, and Georgia Tech takes back over at the 50-yard line. Run to Smith, and he isn't touched until after he passes the first down marker. 20-14 Georgia Tech, under 3 minutes to go. Another run to Smith, able to break off a defender, and that's a 2nd and 4 now after a 6-yard run. Under center again for King. This offense is running so efficiently. Don't know if they can even be stopped. And Kalen DeLoach was able to knock that ball out of Haynes King's hands while he was trying to scramble, but it ended up being recovered by his offensive lineman. Another good break for Georgia Tech, and Florida State has just not been able to come up with that big play on defense so far. They are going to need it if they want to stay in this game before Georgia Tech can totally run away from them. 2 minutes left. King looking, and he is brought down by Braden Fisk. Storms through the offensive line. They're able to get their first sense of penetration and be able to make a big sack there. Travis scrambles out of trouble, gets another 14 yards with a scramble, and that'll be a first down for Florida State as they're looking for points before the half. And that throw off the mark, as it looks like Travis has not found his groove yet in today's game. 2nd and 10, about a minute to go. Hits Wilson on a curl route, and with 1:02 left, Florida State will approach the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. Travis making a change at the line, trying to get the right matchup, getting his guys in position. Play action fake for Travis. He gets the right protection. He's thrown deep to Coleman. The ball doesn't exactly get there smoothly, but Coleman comes back to it for a 43-yard catch, and Florida State is in business, and they should be able to get points before the half. But will it be 3 or will it be 7? Travis with the snap, and he fires, and it is picked off by Tatum, and Tatum is dashing. He is being chased by Coleman and Travis. He's going to pass the 40, the 30, and taken down right before the 25-yard line, and now it is Georgia Tech in position to score points after that. Travis just tried to force it to Keon Coleman. Clearly not the right decision, and Tatum is able to take this not just for a little bit of a game, but takes it all the way back down to the opposing 25. And now Georgia Tech is in prime position to put up some points. Even though Florida State is getting the ball back after the half, they are going to be in a rough spot and probably lose trailing when they get the ball back after the half. King now drops back. He fires. He hits Jonna. Jonna's inside the 10. First and goal, Georgia Tech. They have looked so good today. I don't know if Florida State's defense has an answer. And Dante Smith gets touched at about the half-yard line and able to power through for 8 yards. Another beautiful look. Florida State now down 27-14. 15 seconds left. They're going 5 wide, clearly trying to make something happen before the half. Travis cannot find his man, and that will fall to the ground. 9 seconds left for Travis. He rolls out to the right again, tries to find his man, and it hits the ground as Travis has not looked sharp today at all. 3rd and 10. 6 seconds left. Travis fires out. Nice out pattern to Johnny Wilson for 14 yards. They'll get a little bit closer, and Travis will probably try to heave something here with 2 seconds left. 1st and 10, not that that matters, but, you never know. Travis rolls out, runs up to the line of scrimmage, trying to find Jaheim Bell, and that is picked by the 6'4 corner, Miles Sims, using his length to pluck that one out of the air. And that interception will lead us to halftime, where Florida State is down 27-14 to Georgia Tech. A Georgia Tech team that has only won 1 SEC game so far this season. Florida State's national title aspirations take a serious hit if they cannot come out of halftime with some kind of energy and some kind of plan of attack, because so far they have gotten dominated in all aspects. They have been beaten in the passing yards category, the rushing yards category. They've had the ball for half as long, and they've turned the ball over twice. They are in a rough spot, but they have the ball after halftime, trying to cut this 2-score game to a 1-score game, and Travis immediately throws deep. And Miles Sims on 2 consecutive plays has 2 consecutive interceptions. He is able to beat Johnny Wilson for that ball. And now Georgia Tech takes over after 1 play in the second half. Already up 2 scores. Georgia Tech can get a stranglehold on this game if they're able to deliver so far. They're going to throw a pass to Dante Smith for their first play. He's run down and he goes down for no gain. 2nd and 10 for Georgia Tech. Under 8.5 minutes to go. This is a run to Travion Cooley, and he is stopped pretty early on by Braden Fisk, and this will be a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 for Haynes King, and that ball did not come out with any kind of spark. And now Mike Norvell is giving it to Jordan Travis, and he's probably letting him know he has got to play better. That stat line is not going to win them an SEC game. It is up to Jordan Travis to turn things around. 3 seconds on the play clock. They get the snap off. And this will be a run to Trey Benson. They're going to need to rely on the ground game to get them in better situations. Another run to Benson, 6 more yards, 2nd and 4 Florida State, and they're already approaching the midfield line again. Travis drops back and throws, and Miles Sims was trying for the hat trick there. He'll have to settle for forcing a 3rd and 4, and this feels like a desperate 3rd down situation for Florida State. They're going to run with Toafili out of the shotgun, and Toafili will find almost 10 yards, but his 9 yards will be enough for a 1st down, and Florida State will keep the ball and keep moving. Travis runs out to the right, trying to find the right angle. Instead, he's going to run for 9 yards. Probably could have gotten a 1st down, but goes out a little too early. 2nd and 1, Florida State. Pistol look, handoff to Benson. He's got room to the outside. He's got blocking. 1 defender misses. A 2nd, a 3rd, and now he's in the end zone. Florida State takes a 2-score lead for Georgia Tech and turns it into a 1-score lead, and desperately needed for Florida State. What a beautifully designed run. They were able to get the outside blocking with the tackles. A couple of guys diving at Trey Benson's feet to no avail. He's able to go into the end zone untouched from quite a ways out, and now Florida State has made this a 27-21 game following the extra point. And now Haynes King and Georgia Tech are going to need to find something to respond with. Here's a run to Dante Smith, and there's an easy 4 yards. That's been on the table all day for them. They have been able to push around the Florida State defensive line for the most part. Haynes King is now in the shotgun, has a running back beside him in the formation. They're going to have somebody in motion. 2nd and 6, under 6 minutes to play. Trying to run to Cooley. Cooley has a head of steam, and he's able to pick up about 8 yards for that play. And Georgia Tech just seemed to be able to get whatever they want whenever they need it. They're going to fake the handoff, and King able to dodge 1 tackler, but then a gang of Florida State guys come after him for 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7, and King is a little slow to get up, but he's going to stay in the game, back under center for this 2nd and 7. He's played so well today, don't want to see it derailed with an injury, and he's able to fire this one to Abdul Jana for 5 yards. And here's another 3rd and 2. This has been a scenario where Georgia Tech has been able to run the ball very well, but this time they're going to be in the pass. And he looks and able to find Jana. Not a great throw as he was on the run, but Jonna comes back to it, and now Haynes King is 21 of 27 so far. Hasn't been a great yards per completion, but it's been efficient, and the offense has continued to move every time they've had the ball. And this throws to Boyd, and Boyd drops it, as it seems like we are now getting the news that Florida State's Jared Verse has dislocated his elbow, and he is going to be out for some amount of time, but at least through the rest of today's game, and they are going to be without him, and that is a big presence on the defense. Haynes King throws this one away now for a 3rd and 10. King drops back, looking, fires, and hits Leonard, but Leonard isn't able to hold on, and that 4th down stop is pretty big for Florida State, and they'll get the ball back at 1st and 10. He hits Wilson on an out route. Wilson dashes towards the sideline, able to get 18 yards. We're now looking in the pistol formation to Benson. Run to the outside again. This time, Georgia Tech is able to swarm around him and force a 2nd and 9. Snap to Travis. He's rolling out to the right, trying to get an angle. He's going to fire this one deep. He's got his man. That's Kentron Portier. He is dragged into the end zone, and Florida State has a huge pass play. That has ignited the offense and ignited Doak Campbell Stadium, quite frankly. There's been a lot of nervous energy since this game has started, and that touchdown has fired them up and fired up Coach Norvell, who's telling Travis, you can do this. This offense can fire on all cylinders when you're leading it right, and that great play has given Florida State an extra spark. King on the next play fires and hits Chase Lane, another 8 yards, but those 8 yards have been harder to come by in this half as things have been a little more difficult for the Georgia Tech offense. He hits Chase Lane this time for 12 yards, another 1st down for Georgia Tech. They seem to be looking more like themselves with this drive. Under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. 28-27, Georgia Tech is facing a deficit for their first time in this game. Drop back to King, and that's thrown into a lot of traffic. Could have gone a lot worse. It hits the ground, though. We're looking at a 2nd and 10. This time, a fake handoff to Smith, and King is able to find a lot of green, but not quite enough for a 1st down. 3rd and inches, going to change the play up. Move some guys out wide. He drops back, and he hits Leonard with a nice throw, and Leonard works his way to the 40-yard line, and Georgia Tech is moving and grooving again. He drops back again, finds Smith. Smith able to power his way forward almost for 15 yards of that play, and now they are closing in on the red zone for Georgia Tech, and clearly now in field goal range, hoping to get that lead back in some form or fashion. 1st down, Georgia Tech. Minute 37 to go. He hits Malik Rutherford for his first catch of the day. That's 6 yards, and now they're looking at 2nd and 4. Shotgun look for this Georgia Tech offense. They're going to hand off to Cooley, and he's not able to make his way to the 1st down marker. Fisk stops him in his tracks, and that'll be a 3rd and 3 now brought up for Georgia Tech. They may have to settle for a field goal if they're not able to find a 1st down. Drop back for King. He hits a man, Hunter Long. Long's first catch of the day, as they're starting to spread it around to a few different guys on their team. Here's going to be a run to Smith. Smith runs up the middle, loses a yard, as there's starting to be a little more penetration from that Florida State defensive line and definitely putting up more of a resistance. King tries to get out of the pocket, but he is brought down by Kalen DeLoach. He'll lose 4 yards, and that sack will lead us to the 4th quarter of a 1-point game. Georgia Tech now with 3rd and 14, 9 minutes to go to the end of this one. King's got plenty of time. He hits Chase Lane, and Lane able to take it down to the 1-yard line. Probably could have hit another receiver there. There were 2 guys in the same spot wide open. Never a good look. Leonard this time with a run. He is stopped before he can reach the goal line, and it'll be a 2nd and goal now for Georgia Tech at about the 1. This will be a run to Dante Smith. Dante Smith finds the end zone and a score, and now Georgia Tech will take a 33-28 lead. They will not get the 2-point conversion, so they will keep a 5-point advantage heading into this Florida State drive. Jordan Travis hands it off to Trey Benson, and Benson goes down for a 1-yard loss, not able to get his legs moving, and he is brought down by Rubin, who has had an amazing game so far. Under 8 minutes to go. Travis rolling out to the left, looking for any hope, and there goes Johnny Wilson deep. He's got him, he's throwing it to him, and he is able to shake off the one defender, and Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman run into the end zone together after that 76-yard bomb. That was a play that just totally broke down. Both of those guys were running slant patterns across the field, and Wilson just turned the ball upfield, and Travis gets it to him, and now Florida State has a 34-33 lead following their touchdown and missed 2-point conversion. After Dante Smith's 2-yard run, it's 2nd and 8 for Haynes King and company. They face a deficit again. And this time Smith will lose a yard, as it seems like the defense is starting to get a little more triggered to those Georgia Tech runs, and they are not getting as much room up the middle as they were before. 3rd and 9, King with a lot of room, and he throws and is picked off by Tatum Bethune in the middle of the field. It looked like both him and Kalen DeLoach had a chance at that pick together. They converged in the same spot, and now Florida State has the ball back and a chance to extend their lead. This is a throw up, and there are a lot of white jerseys and only one black jersey. Lucky that hits the ground. Here is a run to Trey Benson, and Trey Benson takes it for 7. 3rd and 3 Florida State, and they are starting to wind the clock a little bit already, trying to play it safe, trying to make sure there are not a lot of possessions left in this one. Keziah Holmes will only pick up 1 yard, and Florida State on a 4th and 3 is going to go for it. About 5 minutes to go. Very risky play, and they run it to Benson, and he will come up short, probably about a half yard short on that one. And that turnover on downs gives the ball back to Georgia Tech, and it's like nothing has even happened from that interception. They are back and moving. Here's Dante Smith. He finds 13 yards and a 1st down. 5 minutes to go in this thriller so far. Travion Cooley, he has plenty of room up the middle. That's 9 yards and a 2nd and 1 for the Georgia Tech offense. 4:38 remaining. Haynes King making a change at the line. Audibles into a better look. He's got time in the pocket. He hits lane, and he has been really let down by some of his receivers with their drops. These big spots are really coming back to bite him. 3rd and 6. And that goes to Jana, and Jana does not get to the 1st down marker. That brings up a 4th and 3, and Georgia Tech is going to go for it. There is not a lot of possessions guaranteed in this game, and this might be their last one, and they want to make it count. Drop back for King. He fires and hits Leonard perfectly between 2 defenders for 7 yards. That's enough to pick up a 4th and 3. New set of downs for Georgia Tech, and they are marching themselves down the field, and they are approaching scoring territory now. Haynes King hands off to Travion Cooley. He's got plenty of space up the middle. He's going to make it all the way to the end zone, brushes off one defender to get to the 43-yard score, and now Georgia Tech and company have a 39-34 lead with 3:40 remaining in this one. Now Florida State takes back over, 1st and 10. Run to Benson. They're not going away from the run game just yet. This could be Florida State's last possession. We'll see if they're able to preserve enough clock and make that happen. 3:20 remaining, 2nd and 4. Run to Benson, and that's another 1st down. Florida State has not faced a ton of resistance in their ground game so far. They've been able to get a lot of good looks for Benson. I would expect to keep on seeing him as long as they have plenty of clock. This time they hand off to Toafili. He finds some room to the outside, makes one guy miss with a spin move, and that spin move gets him 31 yards, and they are in clear territory now. But down by 5, Florida State needs a touchdown. Being in field goal range does them no good at this point. 2nd and 8 for the Florida State offense. 2 minutes to go and counting. Travis in the pocket. Rolls out to the right. He's got a man running free. It's Winston Wright. He stays in bounds. He's able to take it 30 yards for a score, and Florida State goes up 40-39. They missed their 2-point conversion. A bunch of missed 2-point conversions back and forth. And now we have a tale of 2 halves for these two teams. Florida State's offense has come alive and thriving at this point, and they are now outgaining Georgia Tech. The tables have turned, and now Georgia Tech is in their hurry-up offense after a 1st down. Minute 48 to go. 1-point game. Haynes King drops back, and he's able to hit his man Travion Cooley, who goes out of bounds for no gain. It is a 2nd and 10. Big spot on 2nd and 10 for Haynes King. Under pressure, fires a ball beautifully to Abdul Jana for 17 yards, as he has really operated nicely in the middle of the field. Minute 30 to go. 1st and 10. Drop back for Haynes King. He hits Lane on the outside on a curl route. He's able to take that for 17 yards. And now Georgia Tech is firmly in field goal range and could really be playing for that at this point. They're going to hit Blaylock, and he is dropped. Dominic Blaylock, first catch of the game after 4 yards. This is a 2nd and 6, under a minute to go. King looks, fires, and hits Cooley. He's able to dodge some traffic, and he works his way all the way to the end zone. And that's going to be a penalty on the play? What is it going to be? It's going to be a clipping call. And Mike Norvell is going to decline the penalty. He probably is just thinking he'll take his 3 timeouts in the ball, hoping to score, stop this 2-point conversion, and win the game on his own. Haynes King, though, 2-point conversion, fires, hits Blaylock, He'll get another reception and a 2-point conversion score for him. And now Florida State has the ball back, 47 seconds, 3 timeouts. Travis scrambles, he's looking, he's got not quite first down yardage. That'll be 2nd and 1 and a timeout for Florida State. 5 wide formation now. 40 seconds left. Roll out to the right for Travis. He'll hit Winston Wright, and Wright works his way all the way to out of bounds with 35 seconds left. 1st and 10. Travis drops back, throws, and hits Hakeem Williams in stride. The true freshman comes up huge, the biggest score of his Florida State career, and Travis hits his 5th touchdown pass of the game. He has totally turned things around, and after that score, we are headed to overtime at Doak Campbell Stadium at night. What more could you ask for? And Georgia Tech is going to start on defense. First play for Florida State. Travis hits Jaheim Bell. No one around him. 2nd score of the game for Jaheim Bell. And a school record 6 passing touchdowns for Jordan Travis on a day where he looked awful in the first half. But this offense has been electric so far since then. First play for Georgia Tech. Haynes King drops back, and he's able to fit that to Dominic Blaylock, who has had 3 catches in a very short span, but whatever works in this wacky game. 1st and 10, Georgia Tech. They can get a first down without scoring. Here's a run to Cooley. He runs to the outside, and they're able to gang up on him, and it's a 2nd and 11 after 178 yards rushing for Georgia Tech at this point. Gilbert Edmond with the tackle for loss. Now, Georgia Tech really having to think about what they're going to do. They're in 4-down territory, so they got the whole playbook still open to them. Fakes the handoff, and he'll hit Malik Rutherford, finding the weak part of the zone for a score, and Georgia Tech will tie this one up and keep the ball because they will have the ball first in the 2nd overtime. 54-54, slant pattern to Boyd. He finds a lot of room. He'll go down a little before the 10-yard line in another situation where they can get a first down without actually scoring, but effectively at the 10-yard line now. 1st and 10. Run out to Travion Cooley, throws down one defender, and gets down to about the 2-yard line. 2nd and 1 for Georgia Tech now. They're going to go big and beefy, trying to power home a score if they can. Here's a run to Felix, his first carry of the game going to Jamie Felix, and he goes down for a 2-yard loss. 3rd and 3, absolutely crucial now. Does Florida State have a stop in them? And it's DJ Lundy fitting the gap there and is taking Travion Cooley down for a 3-yard loss on only his 3rd tackle of the game. And now Georgia Tech has an opportunity for a field goal. Not what they were looking for, clearly, but this is what's going to come to them on 4th and 6, and the field goal makes it a 57-54 game, and Florida State will need to score 60 if they want to win today's game. 2nd overtime, 2nd possession, Florida State running to the outside with Benson, follows his blockers nicely, and he will reach and get to about the 11-yard line, and they are in business 11 yards from avoiding this massive upset. Here's a run to Toafili. He'll go straight up the middle, 5 more yards, and they're about at the 6-yard line. 2nd and 5. They're going to go under center. Not a very conventional look for Florida State. Travis looks now, hands off to Benson, bounces off one tackler, throws another down. He's in the end zone. That's 6 yards and a score. That's 60 points, and Florida State makes a statement. They are able to respond from a very sloppy parts of this game, and they showed up in this last part of the game and displayed a very, very potent offense. Beautiful blocking, and they were able to really show up in a moment when adversity showed up at their door. Jordan Travis had an awful first half, but instead he decides to lead one of the most electric offenses in all of college football to a big 13-point comeback and ends the day with 6 passing touchdowns of his own. So let's start the post game with a round of applause for Haynes King. That's a really nice game that he had today. 54 pass attempts, but the mark I want to look at is the average yards per completion. For Haynes King, it was 9.6. And he played a really nice game, and it worked very well in the Georgia Tech offense and how they wanted to operate. But then when you look at that in comparison to Jordan Travis, he only had 16 completions on the day, but 24.1 yards per completion. It's honestly just a matter of our receivers were bigger and more athletic, and we had those playmakers, and I put them in spots where they were able to take advantage of Georgia Tech's DBs. And they made some plays. Like, they were able to get in some passing lanes and that play by Miles Sims where he went over Johnny Wilson, very well done. So there were some points where they were able to get us, but 6 passing touchdowns on the day speaks for itself. We also ran the ball very nicely. Trey Benson, an amazing game. I wish I could have gotten him the ball more. It was just a matter of we were having to throw our way out of some trouble because of just the short amount of time we had to come back. And then another day of not a lot of volume, but look at all of the long plays that we had. Everybody who caught a ball, except for Destin Hill, had a play of at least 25 yards. I don't know what that means, but I think it means that we're pretty dang explosive, and I was very happy with how things ended up turning out. I obviously wish, again, Keon Coleman had more volume, but you gotta take what the defense gives you, and at this point, Georgia Tech gave us a run for our money, and what a great game. That was exhilarating to play, and even more exhilarating to talk about afterwards. And I guess what I want to know is everybody's thoughts. There was that penalty near the end of the game where Georgia Tech had scored and there was a clipping penalty, but I didn't want to give them the ball back and a chance to just run it out and kick a field goal and beat us. So I went back and forth for a little bit and ended up deciding, you know what? I want to put the ball in our offense's hands. We're playing really well. Our offense is looking so good. Let me decline this penalty. Let me just assure we're going to have our 3 timeouts, be able to have a chance to at least go down there. I didn't want to end the game without having a single chance for our offense. So after going back and forth for all that time, I eventually made that decision to decline, give them the touchdown, and I guess it ended up working for us. Don't know if that was the right call, though. Would love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comments afterwards. And then when we look at the final game stats, this just is pure evidence of 2 totally different styles of play, and Georgia Tech almost got us. And I think that this team is susceptible to some games that we played and not looking so great. So I think any game could end up being that game for us where we drop a really silly one. So it always keeps us on our toes, but I'm hoping that we can make things a little less interesting in some games and be able to win more convincingly. But we have some very tough games to end the year. And I thank everybody for continuing to watch and following along with this journey. Next up, we'll have the Week 11 recap video. We have some massive games on the slate for that one, so you won't want to miss it. And as always, go Noles.